So you're probably wondering, how do you make passive income as a teenager? Well, let me start off by reading a quote here by Stephen Covey, author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He says this: "Our economic security does not lie in your job. It lies in your power to produce, to think, to learn, to create, and to adapt." Now, this quote kind of sums up the best way to create real wealth in life. Now, if you're starting as a teenager and you're already asking these questions, congratulations to you, because you're amazing. When I was a teenager, all I was thinking about was football and girls. So congratulations for being somebody that actually is thinking about something that could actually change your life and bless so many more people than what I was doing at that time. But in this video, I want to talk about what are some strategies you can actually do to create passive income right now. Now, even though we're talking about how to create passive income as a teenager, I want you to know, like, these are 3 ideas that could actually work to help you do this. And by the way, the last one is one of my favorites, actually one that I'm having my own teenagers do in their own life. So be sure to hang out till the end. All right, so the first thing you gotta do, if you want real passive income, you gotta have money to invest, okay? I know there's people out there, if you would start looking at things like TikTok or Instagram, they're gonna tell you things like, hey, you can have no money at all and make passive income. I'll just tell you this, in my experience, and I've had quite a bit of it, the hair shows it. In my experience, there is no such thing as getting something for nothing, right? That's called gambling. It doesn't work. Passive income, thinking that you could just go and do some random thing that they're talking about, is usually them selling you some program, and usually it's some business or something you have to start doing that requires a lot of your time and attention. It's not something that you can just do passively. It's almost like getting a part-time or full-time job. So don't for one second believe that you can spend no money to get passive income. It requires money. Therefore, you need to focus first and foremost on, how do I generate income right now? I'm gonna give you a secret that I wish I knew as a teenager that worked for me once I got into my mid to late 20s. But it really took me to my late 20s to figure it out. Once I figured this out, income became easy. And it's simply this: stop asking, how do I make more money? But instead start asking, how do I create more value for more people? How do I create a win-win? How do I give people what they want so then I can get what I want? That is the key to success in anything, is how do you go about serving people, solving problems, or adding value in such a way that money is just the natural byproduct. They want to pay you money because they want to have whatever you're offering in their life. So this might be requiring you, it could be a job, right? And you can do a great job at your job. I know it sounds redundant, but it's true. You can do an awesome job at your job and get paid a certain amount. But it might also require you starting a business or a side hustle. And this could be something that has limitless income potential. Understand that when you get a job and you have a salary or a wage, usually because you have that floor of what you're gonna make, that also means you have a ceiling. You can only make so much. So if you're trying to expedite your results, if you're trying to make this money faster or have more money to invest faster, the best thing you can do is have a business. I'll give you an example. One of my employees has her son that started a window washing business with him and his friend. Now, they worked as employees of another business, but after they did the math, they realized, wait a minute, we're getting paid like 11, 12 bucks an hour, but they're getting paid like over $100 an hour. What if we did the business ourselves? Instead of us, getting the lower amount and we're doing all the work, what if we started our own business and did the same thing? And so they would. They would go and they start washing windows for about $300 a house. And they would do that. They did it all summer long. Guys, they made over freaking like $20,000 in just a few months with that business. That gave him the extra seed money he needed to start doing some things. Now, I would say this, investment wise, you may want to have more than just 10,000 bucks or so. Although you could actually start something as little as there. I'll kind of get into that here in a little bit of how you can maybe work with your parents on that. Think about how small of a time frame they worked to make such big amounts of money. It's because they had that business. Again, they were creating a good service. They were actually willing to get out there and hustle a little bit. They actually got out there, started knocking doors, passing out flyers, asking people if they needed their windows washed. And because they were on it, they were diligent, they worked their tails off, but they made a lot of money that summer, way more they would have ever made at that same job working those same hours. So sometimes having a business could be one of the fastest ways to build up the cash so you can create some passive income with it. Now, I did promise, how could you actually invest passively, even if you have less than 100 grand, because I do recommend people have at least 100, 150,000 if they want to invest in real big things. But the thing is, you're going to run into some obstacles. One, you could invest in the stock market, right? You can go and buy stocks, you can go buy mutual funds. You probably have heard people talk about doing that. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that stuff. I even used to teach people how to trade stocks and options. And you know what I learned? I learned it was really, really hard to make money. In fact, Most people never make money doing that kind of thing. And even if they buy a mutual fund, maybe they throw their money in a certain stock they think is really cool. Personally, I wouldn't suggest put very much money in those kind of deals, right? Because the truth is you could lose a lot of money too. So if you want to make good passive income, and that's passive income that pays you income, which stocks do not really. If you want real passive income, I like things that are real estate backed, things that have real assets behind it like real estate. This is not digital currency or crypto. I know that might be enticing too, but that's not the place to do it. Again, no cash flow. There's no income from those things. If you want income coming in so that you could even, imagine this, imagine in the next 10 to 15 years, you could actually have enough income to where you could retire by the time you're in your late 20s like I did, or your early 30s. Guys, whew, that's pretty awesome. Like, how many people in the world can actually say that? Very, very few. And so if you want to take my advice, what helped me do it by my late 20s, it's not gambling in the stock markets, not gambling in digital currency, it's doing things within real estate. But you're going to need a significant amount of cash. So you can do one of two things. One is you save up a lot of cash and eventually invest it. Most of those deals are going to be at least $25,000, $50,000 minimum. And because I recommend people have diversification, this is why you probably want to have at least $100,000. Or you could do like what some of our teenagers do. Because some of our teenagers don't have $100,000 lying around either. By the way, I've got 5 teenagers in my own house. I have a 20-year-old, 5 teenagers, and then a couple like an 8 and a 12-year-old. So we got 8 kids in our house. So a lot of these teenagers, some of them want to create passive income too. They're not sure how to do it. And they don't have $50,000 lying around, but they might have $500, maybe $1,000. So what do? We say, listen, you can come buy out my interest, my share in my particular investment. So one of the teenagers actually bought a share in a oil and gas investment. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll pay you $500 out of the $50,000 you invested. That means I get 1%. So if we get paid $100 of cash flow that month, she gets paid $1, right? Which, by the way, is better because $500 in a savings account. Let's be honest. You know, $500. If you're making like 0.1% on that $500, you're making maybe $5 a year. Where she can make at least $1 a month. That's much better. The truth is she's making more than that. The truth is here is like if we make $1,000 on that investment, maybe in that month, if it's doing really, really well, she then makes $100 on that money, right? That's a 20% return. So there's some really good opportunities for her to be able to make more just because she has a part ownership in an investment that we're already in. Most recently, she even said, hey, can I get into an actual, like a rental? Can I buy into a rental or some kind of real estate asset? We said, yeah, you could. You can actually get into this real estate asset, pays us this much. If you pay us this many dollars, you have this percentage of that, so we'll pay you that percentage. Again, like she wasn't going in initially because we weren't doing that at all. We were putting our own money in, but then we're actually willing to share in those proceeds. You could also go to your parent and say, hey, could you do the same thing? Could I put my money with yours and then maybe I get paid a share of it so I can grow my money faster? And just so you know, I mean, if you only have $500, you're not going to get rich. If you make 10% of that $500, you're going to make $50. $550 the next year is not going to make you rich either. This is why I focus first in this video about doing the thing that's not so passive, which is your job and or business that can help you make more money so you can build up that cash much faster than waiting for that money to compound and grow. It will take forever if you just throw a little bit of money in and wait a long time. It requires you to earn more money along the way. Then that starts to build up much, much faster. Now, let me share a little bonus secret for you guys for that might actually help you do it with no money at all. And this is something I also learned in my late 20s, totally by accident. At the time, I actually was a financial advisor, but I quit. I said, I'm not gonna do financial advising ever again. I can see that everybody's broke following their advice, including the financial advisors are broke too, unless they sell things. So they only make money from their business, not from their investments. I was looking for making money on my investments. While I was learning about doing things with real estate, I remember I had a friend, he said, Chris, well, what are you doing right now to fill your time? I said, well, I'm doing mortgages. Like I'm a mortgage broker and I'm doing a little bit in stocks and whatnot, but mostly a mortgage broker. He said, Chris, do you like doing mortgages? I said, well, I like teaching about it, but I don't like doing all the paperwork. I absolutely despise paperwork with a passion. He said, well, why don't you find somebody who does like doing that, Chris? I said, well, is there anybody that likes doing paperwork? He said, yes, there is. So what I found somebody in the office that loves doing paperwork. He's a nerd. His name is Clark, because like Clark Kent, Superman, right? You gotta be a nerd. So Clark said, yeah, I'll split you 50-50. I'll pay you 50% of everybody that comes through if you just send me the clients and I do all the paperwork. I said, deal, you got it. Well, we did, and I would start making $1,000 to $2,000 a month when I'd spend maybe half hour to an hour with these clients just teaching them, doing what I love anyways, but then pass them on to Clark to spend the next month or so working with these clients. And so I would start doing that. And I thought, well, if I could do it with mortgages, could I do that with other businesses? Remember, I said at the beginning, dollars follow value. It's about what kind of value you create for people, solving problems, serving them. What better way to serve a business that you like, that you know is a good business, not a crappy one, but a good one, by saying, I can connect you with good people. So if you're a good connector, you can get paid by referring somebody to a business and you get paid part of their marketing. It might be a referral fee or something like that. I started doing the same thing with about 3 or 4 different businesses. And guys, I kid you not, I was making about $4,000 a month just doing that alone. $4,000 a month, maybe spend a couple hours a week connecting people. Could you imagine how much more money I had to invest and do things because of that? Plus, I was already actively working and making money too. And I was buying real estate with making money off of that as well. Guys, my wealth grew fast, very quickly when I was in my late 20s because I did just that. I not only had my active stream of income, but I created a residual stream by referring people, becoming a referral partner for those companies. And I was making money on my real estate. I was getting paid in 3 different ways. Multiple streams of income is the path to freedom, especially if you do it quickly and you start now when you're a teenager. All right, so I always tell people all the time, it's a 1-2 punch. You gotta learn the principles of investing and you gotta learn the strategies to go with it. The best way to do that is go visit our website, moneyripples.com, and just go down that rabbit hole and start consuming and learning all you can by visiting our website right now.